Greetings, I'm Dr. Sean Reed, author of the Dating Toolbox, available on Amazon.com. Okay, so today I want to talk about how to keep a high quality woman in love with you. How to keep a woman in love with you, how to keep her interest level high for the long term. And by the end of this video, I will give you 6 tools that you can use to keep a woman in love with you. So first of all, let's talk about, let's kind of lay out what we're talking about here. I'm not talking about some random women we just meet that we just started to date. Often when I give this type of lecture, I talk about wives, how to keep our wives in love with you. And I know a lot of men, the moment I mention marriage or wives, immediately freak out and they stop watching my videos. And so I'm going to change things up a little bit, and I'm going to talk about how to keep a high quality woman in love with you. Now, I will argue that when you find an extremely high quality woman and you learn to keep her in love with you, that may change your perspective on marriage. And so in my case, and what I've done for a lot of my guys I coach, is I've taught them how to select a very high quality woman. We just had a video on that. It's not, you don't just meet this gal and go live happily ever after. You have a system for getting her. You learn how to open 30 women, start conversations with 30 women a month. You learn how to successfully get that phone number, how to successfully get that first date, how to successfully have those 3 first dates, and how to eventually build a 3-woman dating rotation. And again, this doesn't happen overnight. In my case, I had perfected over 5 years. I had perfected my system, and I spent 2 years being very successful at building a 3-woman dating rotation until I finally found the woman that is today my wife. So this isn't something that's going to happen overnight, but the idea here is that we're talking about a very good woman here, beautiful, loving, flexible giver that's going to bring value into your life. Okay, that's the woman I'm talking about when I say, how do we keep such a woman in love with you? Okay, for many of us, we would want to marry such a woman and keep that woman in love with us for the rest of our life. For those of you that are adamantly against marriage, I'm going to teach you how to keep this woman that you love, that loves you back and brings value into your life. I'm going to teach you how to keep that woman in love with you. So we've seen in other videos I've done that the key to keeping a woman in love with you is challenge. And we define love as something called interest level. So the interest level runs from a range of 0, meaning she wouldn't date you, you're about as attractive as a homeless man on the street, to 100. So let's say if a woman's interest level is 92%, she's madly in love with you. And she's going to be a wonderful person to live with, as opposed to a woman who has 52% who's going to be fighting with you, arguing with you, making your life miserable, and then eventually leaving you. So we're talking about maintaining that high interest level. And we've seen before that the key to that is challenge. Again, I just had a video on that. And so today I want to specifically get into some of the things. You'll see I have 6 of them that you can do to keep a woman in love with you. Okay, so the first thing is variety. And there was a study I looked at many years ago. It was about cohabitation and people that live together. And this study found that when people lived together prior to marriage, they had a much higher chance of getting divorced once they got married. Like the divorce, if people cohabitated, lived together prior to marriage, and they got married, the divorce rate was something like 80%. We know the divorce rate is 50%, which is already ridiculously high. It would be even higher. So I always recommend to guys, don't live with a woman. My advice is, do not live with a woman that's not your wife. Now, when you're seriously dating a high quality woman, so you've built your rotation, you selected this gal, you've been seeing her for 9-10 months, no red flags, the relationship is going great. At that point, she may be spending 3 days a week at your place, or you may be spending several days a week at her place. So in reality, you're spending a lot of time together, which is okay once we get to that. Again, we know that we generally spoon feed women early on in the relationship. We only see them once a week. But when you've been committed monogamy to a woman, you've been seeing her for 9-10 months, You're now spending a lot of time together, but still keep your separate place. So I always recommend guys, do not live with a woman. Always keep your separate place. And again, that's related to this notion of challenge. And so the key, when let's say you're married and you're living together, you're with this person all the time. You sleep together, you eat together, you're with her day in, day out. It's going to be harder to be a challenge. So the number one thing I recommend, the first thing on our list, is variety. You've got to give women variety, and some of these other steps will show you how you do that. So again, the first key, and it's kind of an overarching key, is variety. Women crave variety. Women, you've got to mix things up and keep them exciting. Okay, so moving on down, number 2 is you need to give your woman affection and romance. All right, so basically what I mean here is don't tell a woman you love her all the time, show her. So on Monday, when you both come home from work, give her some physical affection, give her some kissing, and don't pursue sex. You're just going to kiss her. Ideally, what I like to do with my wife is I like to have like a miniature 5-minute make-out session, Freudian slip, I said sex, a make-out session, and we don't pursue sex. Now, what may happen is sex may result from this. I'm 62, but when I was younger, I was in my 40s, I would have these make-out sessions and I'd become very physically aroused, and very often these make-out sessions led to sex. So that's why earlier in a marriage, when I was a younger man, we were having sex all the time, multiple times a week. That doesn't happen quite so much now that I'm in my 60s, but I still give my wife that affection. I give her those little mini romances during the week, and that primes her for Saturday. So essentially, I have a date night on Saturday. I don't know if I have that up here. Date night is also important to the process. But I have a mini makeout session Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And then when we go out for date night Saturday, she is warmed up and primed for sex. So we want to give our wife that regular affection. Number 3 on the list. When she comes home and wants to talk about her day, listen. This is a mistake a lot of men. Again, women and men have different brains. Women are process-oriented. Men are problem-solution-oriented. So I'll think something out and I'll get to my question and then I'll ask another guy, hey, how do I solve this problem? Women aren't like that. Women go through that mental process by talking about it. So what a woman does when she's talking about her day with you is she's working through her process, coming to her decision. If you jump in and go into problem solution mode, which is what men like to do, you're going to frustrate her and you're going to lower her interest level. That kills interest level. That'll knock her interest level down 1, 2, 3 points. You do that every day, pretty soon she's going to fall out of love with you and your life is going to be miserable. So don't do that, guys. When she comes home to talk about her day, just listen. Let her go through the process. Shake your head. Pay attention. Don't try and problem solve. She will love you for it. Again, this is a way, when we talk about points, love points, this is a way to score those love points. So you give her affection. You give her some romance. You listen to her talk about her day. Next, humor. Okay? Humor is a great tool to keep interest level high. So let's say that Monday I gave my wife affection, and in fact it did lead to sex. So we had sex Monday. She comes home Tuesday and I give her affection and she's had a hard day. She wants to talk about her day and I give her affection and she may immediately step back and say, hey, I'm not having sex with you again. Give her some humor. I'll come back. I'll go, honey, sit down. I want you to know something. This is very important, but I'm not going to try and have sex with you today. Right? And of course, my wife finds that hilarious. We give her a little humor, guys. Give her some humor. And again, humor is a key tool throughout relationships, okay? So we give her that humor. Next, number 5, we do some housework, guys. This will pay huge dividends. Huge dividends, right? So my wife cooks every night. I've got gourmet food every night waiting for me. I've got gourmet food waiting for me right now. So I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to come home to a 5-star dinner. I've got that almost every night, 6 nights a week. What do? I do the dishes, right? I spend 15, maybe 20 minutes doing the dishes. Boom, boom, boom. That raises my wife's interest level. Those are some love points. So do some housework, guys. It's well worth it. Imagine the money you're going to lose if you go through a divorce. So really, doing housework, the way I look at it is I'm making $150 an hour because that's what I would be paying an attorney if I didn't do the housework. Okay, moving on. Give her the gift of missing you, guys. Okay, don't constantly bug your significant other at work. Don't call her and text her all day. Show some discipline. I don't do a lot of videos on texting. There are a lot of guys out there that do, because my general advice in regards to texting is minimize it. Okay? If you're doing everything right, if you're giving her the gift of missing you, having texting game isn't going to be an issue because we simply aren't doing it a lot. If you start texting excessively with a woman, what happens is you go from being a romantic interest to her girlfriend. Girlfriends text a lot. Men don't. Okay, guys? So minimize that texting. If your wife wants to text you during the day, say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm busy, but hey, let's talk about this tonight. Or if you're in a relationship with a gal, you're not married, you're not living together, and you see her, at this point, you're seeing her 3 times a week. Don't get involved in lengthy text conversations on those days in between. Text her, say, hey, I'm busy right now. If you want to talk to me, we'll talk tomorrow when we're meeting together, okay? So guys, give her the gift of missing you. All right, guys, so this video is starting to run long. You know how much I hate long videos. So if you do these things, you will keep a woman in love, okay? You're not going to have problems. I have so many guys telling me about their problems in their marriage. These problems are produced for 2 reasons. 1, the selection process. There are some women that are just not long-term relationship material, okay? As a matter of fact, in today's world, there are a lot of them. I would argue that only 1 in 4 women are high-quality relationship material. 2, if you do get a high-quality woman, you still have to manage that relationship, okay? You can have the best woman in the world, but if you don't do these 6 things, you're not going to keep her in love with you, and eventually you're going to have problems. All right, guys, so it's very important to keep that woman in love with you. If you like what you heard, if you like what you saw today, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'm trying to build a community here, guys. I want to help men have strong relationships with women. Today's dating world is horrible, and I want to do everything I can to improve it. I want to give men what I have. In my case, I have a phenomenal marriage, and prior to that, I did some phenomenal dating. So I want to teach other men how to have happy, loving relationships, okay? Again, you guys, my book is available on Amazon.com. Down below, you'll see a link. It's $13. It will completely change your dating life. And thank you guys for listening.